You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
Say goodbye to your credit card rewards. Greedy corporate mega stores, led by Walmart and Target, are pushing for a law in Congress to take away your hard-earned cash back and travel points to line their pockets. The Durbin-Marshall credit card bill would enact harmful credit card routing mandates that would end credit card rewards as we know it. If you love your credit card rewards, tell your lawmakers, hands off my rewards. Tell them to oppose the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill.
Welcome to From Beneath the Hollywood Sign. If you love old movies, Hollywood history, or the golden age of filmmaking, you've come to the right place. This is the podcast that talks about amazing stories of Tinseltown from another era and fascinating conversations with writer-producer Steve Cubine and actress-writer Nan McNamara.
So, Steve, did Ava Gardner and Howard Hughes have a good relationship?
Well, they did until he dislocated her jaw.
What?
Well, don't worry. She hit him back with an ashtray.
From Beneath the Hollywood Sign is the gin joint for you.
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neal, and Jeff. This is Triviality. The cream of the crop!
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. My name is Neal, and this is Game 2 in our romantic comedy tournament. We had a very exciting episode 1. Spoiler alert, if you're listening to the second one first for some reason, I'm not sure why you would be, but the winner of the first game was Ron Weaver from St. Louis, so he'll be moving on to the final game, which is going to be next week. Just as a little bit of a recap, it's going to be 15 romantic comedy questions. We have 4 contestants with us today. The winner will move on to the game next week. And if someone in this group can beat 12 correct answers that were given by Savannah Campbell last game, then they will be the wild card going into the final next week. If not, it will be Savannah for our 3-for-all in the final. But joining me today, once again in the studio, is my girlfriend, Colleen. How's it going?
Great.
And I'm trying to think of something on topic, but we've been watching a lot of romantic comedies recently. You talked with the last group about My Best Friend's Wedding and that you weren't sure who to root for because Julia Roberts was kind of...
Yeah, we watched it for the first time, and everyone always touts that as such a great romantic comedy, but I felt like I had no idea who to root for or understand what was happening with the storyline. So I was really disappointed in it, but... Yeah. And we watched a couple other ones that we really enjoyed, but they might be clues for the questions, so we won't say anything. But we have some great contestants here who joyfully gave us an email that they wanted to participate, and we appreciate that. So I'm going to start introducing them, but as I said in the first episode, this wouldn't be a romantic comedy bonus without a meet cute. So this person decided to switch places with me, and now I'm being charmed in England while she's being charmed in Los Angeles. Coming to us from Louisville, Kentucky, that is Asha Ouseph. How's it going, Asha?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing well. So what's new in your world? And one of the questions that I'm going to pose to everyone is either answering your most rewatched rom-com or which rom-com couple you'd like to see in quarantine.
Well, I'll tell you, I got Disney Plus and I was watching Tangled. And in the beginning, she sings a song that she does the same thing she did every day. Never related to a cartoon character more in my entire life.
Yeah, we love Tangled.
Yes. And as far as my most watched movie, probably one that would never work today, but it's While You Were Sleeping.
Yes, that is a great one. We've watched that one quite a bit. I directed a play in Chicago called Once Upon a Rom-Com, the Bill Pullman story, and it was about how depressed he was that he's always second fiddle to everyone.
Except
it's
in that
so
movie.
sad, except for that movie.
Except for that movie, yeah. But yeah, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
So our next contestant, he was actually seen at a club where Ken was doing stand-up, and he heckled Ken, but in a positive way, and they ended up bonding together before one of them got a mysterious disease, but they ended up falling in love. It's okay. Coming to us from Brick, New Jersey, is someone who's been on the show quite a few times, Paul McLaughlin. How's it going, Paul?
Doing all right. How about yourself?
Doing well. Thank you for joining us. What's new in your world? And same questions posed to you.
New in my world, still in Quarantineville here, and not a damn thing. Nothing much has changed. So to answer your other question, I think I'm going to have to go Notting Hill. Here's a fun fact about me. I really don't care much for romantic comedies, but from 1998 through 2011, I saw every single one of them, so I figured, yeah, let's give this a try. And if you want to take a guess as to what years I was with my ex-wife, you might be able to divine that.
Well, that's a great choice. I showed Colleen Notting Hill for the first time not too long ago.
Yeah, pretty recently. It's a good one.
Yeah, I like that one.
I really enjoyed it.
The transition scene of the year passing is probably one of my favorite scenes in all of moviedom.
I love that whole street. When I was studying in London, I had to make sure I went to Notting Hill, and it looks exactly like it does in the movie with all the art and everything on the street. It was really cool. So yeah, I recommend it. Our next contestant is someone who was accidentally pulled over by Jeff portraying a Scottish policeman, and she was having some wedding drama, but they decided to air their grievances and became close. And she's coming to us from Pittsburgh, and she was on our West Wing bonus episode, and that is Alexis Papalia. How's it going, Alexis?
Quarantine surviving, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm this close to starting a sourdough starter, so, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Well, you did tell us that your diet today consisted of only French fries.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. French fries and Diet Dr. Pepper, which is not, I wouldn't recommend it.
Maybe for one meal, but maybe not all of them.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, same questions posed to you, either most rewatched or a couple that you would like to see in quarantine from a rom-com.
So my most rewatched, I was actually just watching it before we got on here to try to, calm my jitters a little bit. It's my sick movie, my comfort movie is You've Got Mail. Mm-hmm. It's just one of those, like, I grew up with it, it came out in 98 when I was like 8 or 9 years old, and like I got the jokes then and I get more of them now that I'm an adult. So that's really my favorite probably, and one I watch most often.
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's a great one. We were just saying that we should rewatch that one. It's been a while, but I do enjoy it. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Happy to be here.
And our last contestant, she was a television host along with Matt, and Matt was being very chauvinistic, but they decided to work together and created magic. And they created a very, very popular television show. And coming to us from Nashville is Becca Moody. How's it going, Becca?
Going good. How are you?
Doing well. Just to give the audience a little behind the scenes, when you emailed and said you wanted to be on this episode, you had a great romantic comedy trope that you put in the email, if you want to say.
Yes, the 10 Things I Hate About You reality, where the lead woman always starts with straight hair, pulled back, maybe wearing glasses at the start, and at the end their hair is down, the glasses are off, and usually it's a little curly too. So there you go. Yeah. And thank you for sending that too. And speaking of movies that are either rewatchable or a couple you'd like to see in quarantine, any romantic comedies coming to mind? Yeah, I thought about this one, and I've decided I'd love to see Harrison Ford and Anne Heche from the classic 6 Days, 7 Nights. Just a throwback there. They'd be great to see in quarantine, so yes. Yes, that'd be very good. There'd be a lot of pointing from Harrison Ford. Get off the couch. Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's on Netflix, actually. We saw that when we were scrolling through stuff. Well, thank you. We were scrolling through Netflix last night, and we were trying to pick a movie, and I was like, oh wow, I haven't seen that in a long time. We were so close to going there with it. I almost did too, and he's had sort of a spotty recent history with planes, so he should probably stay away from a plane. Last few times. But thank you everyone for joining us today. We're super, super excited. Once again, it's 15 questions. These are all, different romantic comedies. We tried to keep it varied in all 3 episodes. So I'm hoping some of these will be easy. Some will be gettable. But yeah, Colleen, are you ready to go? I'm ready to go. All right. Let's start with question 1. In the first episode, we tried opening up with a question about romantic comedies that always seems to make an appearance in trivia. In similar fashion, this question is about When Harry Met Sally, which always seems to come up in trivia. While I could ask you about Rob Reiner's mother saying the iconic line, "I'll have what she's having," I'll refrain and simply ask, in what famous New York City restaurant does the scene take place in? Locked in. Yeah, locked in. All right, so that leaves Becca. What are you thinking? I'm thinking I knew this would have come up and I should have looked it up before we got here.
I have been to this restaurant on a trip to New York City, and I feel like they have a famous Reuben sandwich, and I'm pretty sure it's not correct, but I'm going to say it's called Reuben's.
Okay. All right, locked in with Reuben's. Let's go to Asha.
I really don't know, so I just made up somebody's name and said Hell's Diner.
Hell's Diner in Hell's Kitchen. We're just going to say it's there.
No, Hell, like H-A-L.
Oh, Hell's Diner. Excuse me.
Hell's probably a bit better.
Yeah,
but,
Hell's Diner in Hell's Kitchen. Paul, what do you think?
I have no idea where I'm pulling this out of, but Shotsky's Diner?
Okay, Shotsky's Diner. And Alexis.
I believe it's Katz's Deli.
And Alexis, the only one getting points. Katz's Deli or Katz's Delicatessen is the correct answer. New York institution there. Lots of meat. So if you like meat, it's great. If you don't, I would recommend probably not going. Okay, number 2. In 1991's Father of the Bride, George Banks, played by Steve Martin, ends up getting arrested in a tuxedo after he has a nervous breakdown over what he considers a ripoff in a grocery store. Over what food products?
Locked in.
Locked in.
Locked in.
All right, Paul, what are you thinking? I know this isn't in the 97 range, but...
Yeah, and I did see this, but man, it was a while ago. I will take a stab at chicken.
Chicken, all right. Let's go to Alexis.
I believe it is hot dogs and hot dog buns, and they're disparate amounts in packages.
Okay, let's go to Becca.
I also said hot dogs and their buttons.
Okay, and Asha.
I said apples. I didn't know.
All right. Well, the answer is hot dogs and buns. He has an 8-pack of hot dogs, but the buns come in 12, and he tries to remove buns from the packaging, and he gets yelled at and then gets arrested. But yeah, great job, everyone. Moving on to number 3, creepy or romantic. 2005's Hitch has often sparked quite a debate about whether Will Smith's Hitch is crazy to have taken Eva Mendes's character where for their first date.
Locked in.
Locked in.
Locked in.
All right, Paul.
Never saw this one. This is outside of my date range, so I am going to say the zoo.
Okay, the zoo. Alexis.
I believe it's Ellis Island.
Okay, Becca.
I just said jet skiing.
Okay, jet skiing. And Asha.
Ellis Island.
All right, and that's going to be points for Asha and Alexis. It is Ellis Island. This was, Colleen, this was your question. He makes her cry, right?
Yeah, but the clarification is she's technically correct. They take jet skis to Ellis Island.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we should probably give points.
We should probably give points because we didn't. Sorry, this shows my lack of trivia knowledge in writing questions. I wasn't specific enough, but you are correct. They did take jet skis to Ellis Island.
Okay, so we'll give points to that for Becca then. But yeah, I believe he makes her cry, right? Because
he wants to show her how thoughtful he is, and he finds this old relative of hers, and it's someone that her family doesn't speak to anymore, and she gets hysterical and cries, and it's a disaster.
I think the relative was like a serial murderer in Spain or something.
Yes, he was like a horrible person that her family tries to not remember.
That's funny. All right. So yeah, that will be points to Alexis, Becca, and Asha. All right. Number 4. In the film Made in Manhattan, what expensive brand of designer coat does Marissa try on right before sharing an instant attraction with high-profile politician Chris?
Locked in.
Locked in.
Locked in.
All right. Back to you, Paul.
Yeah. Let's go Versace.
Okay. Versace. All right. Alexis.
I believe it's Dolce & Gabbana.
Okay, let's move on to Becca.
I'm not sure, but I went ahead and said Prada.
Okay, and Asha.
I said Versace.
All right, so we got 2 Versaces, a Prada, and a Dolce & Gabbana. The points are going to go to Dolce & Gabbana, so that is for Alexis there. All right, and number 5 here in this first mini round. Adam Sandler has starred in his share of romantic comedies. I'm going to name 4 different films that he starred in, and I would like you to give me any 2 of the female co-stars / love interests from that film. So I'm going to give you 4 films. I just need 2 actresses that were his love interest or co-star from those films. So the films are Anger Management, Blended, Click, and Just Go With It. So 2 actresses out of those 4 films.
Locked in.
Locked in.
Locked in.
All right, Paul.
All right. Boy, I was really hoping to be able to pull a Drew Barrymore double play on this. Anger Management's the only one I saw, and I don't remember. Marissa Tomei and maybe there was another Drew Barrymore that I didn't know about in there. So let's go with those 2.
Okay. Let's go to Alexis.
We don't have to say the corresponding films, right?
No, I just need the actresses. Yep.
Marissa Tomei and Jennifer Aniston were the 2 that I locked in with.
Okay. Becca?
I said, I think there is a Drew Barrymore for blended. So I said Drew Barrymore and Jennifer Aniston.
Okay. And Asha?
I also said Drew Barrymore and Jennifer Aniston.
All right. Well, points are on the board for everyone. So Paul, last minute pull there got you on the board. So Anger Management is Marissa Tomei. Blended is Drew Barrymore. That's where they go on safari. Kate Beckinsale is in Click, and Jennifer Aniston is in Just Go With It. I did have Brooklyn Decker, but he doesn't end up with her. But just in case someone said it, that's who he starts the film with, and they move past each other, as the film goes on, because he falls in love with the real person, the person he loves. Okay.
Thankfully, I know 4 of those.
Yeah. All right. After 5, the scores are as follows. Asha is on the board with 2 points. Paul, with that last question, is on the board with 1 point. Alexis is batting perfect with 5, and Becca has 3 points. So very, very close still. Anybody's game.
Say goodbye to your credit card rewards. Greedy corporate mega stores, led by Walmart and Target, are pushing for a law in Congress to take away your hard-earned cash back and travel points to line their pockets. The Durbin-Marshall credit card bill would enact harmful credit card routing mandates that would end credit card rewards as we know it. If you love your credit card rewards, tell your lawmakers, hands off my rewards. Tell them to oppose the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill.
Let's move on to... Sorry, I did not mean to jinx anyone. Let's move on to Colleen for question 6.
All right, question 6. At the end of Friends with Benefits, Justin Timberlake's Dylan organizes a flash mob for Jamie, played by Mila Kunis. The grand gesture inside Grand Central Station is set to 2 songs that have meaning for the characters. Name one of those songs.
Locked in.
All right, so...
Locked in.
Oh, that leaves Becca. So what are you thinking, Becca? Have you seen this one?
I have a million years ago. I remember something in the fountains at some point, but I do not remember the end at all. And don't think it's going to come to me. So I am just going to say Unchained Melody.
Okay, classic love song. All right, let's go to Asha.
I have no idea, so I went with another movie song that was in a train station and said Jai Ho.
Okay, ooh, classic, yep. All right, Paul?
I did not see this whole movie, but I think I did see the scene in question just flipping through one time. I remember seeing a flash mob dancing, and I'm pretty sure it was Closing Time.
Okay, and Alexis.
Okay, I will name the other one that was not named and say Jump by Criss Cross.
All right, we got 2 points then on the board. It was Jump by Criss Cross and Closing Time by Semisonic. Good pull.
Yeah, nice pull. So yeah, Criss Cross, he sang to her in his robe in the hotel, or in his dad's place. And then, yeah, Semisonic, they were talking about what it was about. I can't remember.
I'm trying to remember, too. We haven't seen that one in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I believe that's what it was.
And then a third trivia question would be when he first meets Mila Kunis, when she tries to convince him to move to New York, she has a flash mob of New York, New York in Times Square that kind of seals the deal for him. Okay, number 7.
All right, number 7. Featuring cameos from writer-directors Harold Ramis as the doctor and Lawrence Kasdan as the shrink and Shane Black as the restaurant manager, this Oscar-winning romantic comedy by James L. Brooks covered every single detail, just like his OCD lead character, Melvin Udall.
Locked in.
All right. Paul on the board first on that one.
Locked in.
Okay. Everyone is locked in. So let's start with Asha.
As Good as It Gets.
All right, Paul?
Yeah, 3 in a row. I'm going to have to say that is as good as it gets.
Alexis?
As good as it gets. Yeah.
Okay, and Becca?
Luckily, the OCD part came to me right at the end, and I got as good as it gets.
Excellent. So points all around, as good as it gets. Neil and I actually just saw this for the first time a few nights ago. It's a really good one.
Yeah, it's really good. Because in the beginning, you're like, man, this guy is very irredeemable. And then we
almost walked away. I was like, I don't know about this movie.
But he was changed. He was a changed man.
He did. All right, number 8. What Oscar-winning actor and sometimes musician answered the call to star in the comedic film Booty Call with former collaborator Tommy Davidson?
Locked in.
Locked in?
I'll lock in.
All right, Alexis, what are you thinking?
I am thinking absolutely nothing. Like, for the first time, I don't even have like a thing to go on here. And I always said I wouldn't tap out on a question, but I think I might have to on this one. I think I'm just going to tap.
Okay, Alexis is tapping. Becca, what do you think?
I have put Taye Diggs with the Sometimes musical, but I have no idea.
Okay, Taye Diggs. Asha?
I went with Jamie Foxx for the Sometimes musical.
And Paul?
Yeah, Sometimes musical was my tip in too for Jamie Foxx.
And it is Jamie Foxx.
Yes.
Yeah. Great job, everyone. Okay, so that was the first miss for Alexis, actually. So we'll see what happens here as we move forward.
All right, on to number 9. In Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Peter is trying his best to distance himself from who else? Sarah Marshall. However, in Hawaii, he runs into Sarah and must deal with her new boyfriend, played by Russell Brand. Name either his character name or the famous band he was the frontman for.
Locked in.
Locked in.
I'm locked in.
Okay, everyone is locked in. Let's start with Asha.
I did not know. I was hoping you were going to ask for Russell Brand's name, so I've got nothing.
Okay, tap from Asha. Paul?
I have absolutely no idea, so I'm going to say his name is Rip Stryker.
Ooh, great name. Could also be an action star with that one. Alexis, what do you think?
Thankfully, I watched Get Him to the Greek a couple weeks ago, which is a nice spin-off situation, and that character's name is Aldous Snow.
All right, and Becca?
I was so close. I said Aldous Hodge.
Ooh.
Yeah. She had that first name right. Aldous Snow, correct. So Alexis got points on that one. And the name of his band is Infant Sorrow.
Infant Sorrow, yep. And Becca, Aldous Hodge is actually an actor from Leverage, and he's in The Invisible Man just recently.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
of course he is.
You had a correct name, so it was definitely a person.
All right.
Okay, on to number 10. Out of the small handful of films that have won the Big Five at the Oscars, so that's Best Picture, Actor, Actress, Writing, and Directing, what 1934 Clark Gable film is the only romantic comedy film to do so?
Locked in?
I'll lock in.
Okay.
I'll lock in.
All right, that leaves Alexis.
I'm stuck between 2, and of course, neither of them could be correct, which would be the best thing. And those are It Happened One Night and Bringing Up Baby. And of course, in my furious studying for this, I neglected to watch so many older films, which I should have done. So I'm just going to have to throw caution to the wind and probably end up regretting it and say It Happened One Night.
Okay, let's go to Becca.
I said It Happened One Night.
Asha.
It Happened One Night.
And Paul.
Clean sweep. That was mine. Happened One Night.
Yep, It Happened One Night. So it looked like you went for it, Alexis. Good call on that one.
Thank God. That was going to really suck.
Yeah, I tried to include at least one older movie in here just to give the respect over there. All right, so just a quick score recap here after 10. So we have a 3-way tie with 5 points with Asha, Paul, and Becca, and Alexis is in the lead right now with 9 points. So it's still anybody's game with 5 questions remaining. So let's see what's going to happen here. All right, number 11. In The 40-Year-Old Virgin, Leslie Mann's character drives extremely drunk and loudly exclaims that she has a craving for what food item?
Locked in.
Locked in.
Locked in.
What are you thinking, Becca?
I've seen this movie, and I remember the scene, and I am not thinking of food, so I'm trying to think of funny food. And so I want to say tacos, but I feel like that would be what all of us would yell if we were drunk driving and asking for food. So I'm going to say sushi.
Sushi. Okay. Let's go to Asha.
I did go with tacos.
All right. So we got a sushi, we got tacos. Paul, what do you think?
I was actually trying to waffling between sushi and tacos, but I ultimately went with tacos.
Ooh, another tacos. And Alexis?
I'm going to sound really weird, and I can't say it the way she says it because it's rather expletive-laden. I think it's French toast, though.
All right. And Paul, when you said you were waffling, you were very close. But as Alexis said, and we'll bleep it, she says she wants some French toast. That's right, French toast.
I can hear her so vividly say it.
Yes, it is very memorable. All right, so it's points for Alexis on that one. Number 12. During a montage, the title character from this film utters the words, "I will not be defeated by a bad man and an American stick insect. Instead, I choose vodka," and Shaka Khan.
Locked in.
Locked in?
Locked in.
Locked in.
Locked in? Okay. Let's start with Asha then.
I have nothing.
You have
I
nothing?
do not know.
All right. Asha is tapping. Paul, what do you think?
And after the fact, it hit me that you said title character. So my original answer is obviously impossible. Tap. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Paul is tapping. Alexis?
Bridget Jones' Diary.
And Becca?
I went for the only title name I could think of in a movie, and that is Oscar, which is clearly wrong, but Sylvester Stallone deserved a shout out for that movie.
That movie.
Great guess. It is an Oscar, but it is Bridget Jones' Diary. So it is Bridget Jones' Diary. All right. So number 13, do you want to take Colleen?
Sure. Number 13. In the Netflix film Always Be My Maybe, starring Ali Wong and Randall Park, what notable celebrity becomes a foil for their burgeoning relationship?
Locked in.
Locked in.
Locked in.
Don't know, Paul.
Let's go Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Alexis?
Keanu Reeves.
All right. Becca?
Keanu Reeves.
And Asha?
Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, we got 3 points. And if you've seen this movie, you know it is Keanu Reeves.
Great.
I actually watched this specifically to study for this, and I'm so glad I did because I never would have watched it otherwise, and it was so delightful.
It is.
It was very cute. I enjoyed it.
It's a cute one. All right. Do you want to do 14 and then I'll do the last one?
All right, sounds good. All right, number 14. In Love Actually, Liam Neeson's character grieves over the death of his wife and confides in his son that the only woman who could ever have his heart again is this notable figure who actually makes a cameo as a fellow parent, potential love interest at the end of the film. The pained expressions make me think this is a tough one.
I know. I don't think this is going to be tough. Colleen and I make fun of this part, and we'll explain why once the answer is revealed. Because one of our favorite movies. All right, locked in by Alexis?
Yeah, locked in.
And Paul?
Locked in.
I'll lock in.
Okay, everyone is locked in. So let's see. It looked, as Colleen said, like everyone had a pained expression on their face. So Asha, what do you think?
I know this is wrong because she's not British, but I said Annette Bening.
Okay. Paul?
I'm just trying to... I'm trying to think of who's even in this. Let's go. And did you say it was a British actress?
Didn't say if it was British or not.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Shannon Elizabeth.
Okay. Alexis?
I think this is right. I think it came to me. I think it might be Claudia Schiffer, but I'm not positive. So Claudia Schiffer.
Claudia Schiffer and Becca.
I said Kate Winslet.
All right, and points go to Alexis on this one. It is Claudia Schiffer.
Yep. Liam Neeson, I think he says something like, if I'm ever going to love someone again, it'll be a supermodel or something. And Colleen and I make fun of it because at the end when he actually does meet her and it's Claudia Schiffer or playing a random person, they remark about how Sam didn't kiss
the girl at the end, and she's like, no, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a really bad line reading.
And it's a really bad line reading. And
they're like, say something, Claudia. It's like, that's cool. But yeah, so Claudia Schiffer is the correct answer. But Paul, Shannon Elizabeth is at the end of the movie with Denise Richards as two of the people that Colin lived with in Wisconsin. Okay.
All right.
January Jones.
And January Jones and Alicia Cuthbert. Okay, so this is the last question. The way it's going to work, I did this in the first game. It's something called That Movie Where, which is just a type of question I like writing, having worked at Blockbuster before. A lot of people would come up to you and try to describe a movie in the worst way possible, and you'd have to figure it out. So I'm going to describe a movie, and it's usually using movie titles and other details. So you have to tell me, what movie am I trying to rent at Blockbuster, okay? I'm looking for that movie directed by Ford versus Ferrari, where Wolverine travels back in time to meet Sleepless in Seattle. They fall in love, and then she travels back in time to see him. Both of them even interact with Sabretooth and Ray Donovan.
Locked in.
Locked in.
Locked in.
I know it, but I can't pull it, which is terrible because 90% of the time that I talk with my sisters about movies is me figuring this nonsense out when they say things like that. And I want to say Kate and Leopold.
Okay. Is that your locked in answer?
That's my locked in answer.
Okay. Paul?
Yep. Kate and Leopold.
All right. Alexis?
Kate and Leopold.
And Becca?
Kate and Leopold.
Clean sweep. So you all would be very good workers at Blockbuster. And I'd give you an easy one. Sometimes it'd be like, what's the one with the doctor where he, murders his wife or whatever? Okay. After 15 questions, it looks like the final scores are as follows. In third place, I should say, is Paul with 6 points. Tied for second with 7 points are Asha and Becca. And today's winner with 14 points, Alexis. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done,
that
Alexis.
was unstoppable force there.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
You're a true rom-com fan. That's how.
Yes, you are a true rom-com fan. Well, thank you very much for joining us, everyone. Before we let you go, I'm just going to go through each of you. Just any parting words you would like to say, and maybe a rom-com that wasn't mentioned that we should all check out in the meantime, since we're at home. So, Asha, any final words?
No, thanks for having me. You caught me off guard with that one. I can't think of anything right now that comes to mind that everyone should watch, but I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Maybe it should be Tangled. You talked about it. It's a great movie.
I do love Tangled.
Yes, love Zachary Levi in that. So maybe that's one everyone should watch. Paul, I know you signed up. You said you had a very limited knowledge, but you still performed admirably, and we loved having you. Any parting words from you?
No, just thanks much for having me. As for a recommendation, is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back a rom-com? I mean, there's a romantic subtext to it, right?
Why not?
Yeah,
actually,
why not?
There's a couple of them now that I think about it.
Yeah, you could. I mean, as long as there's a hint of romance, I'm sure you could call it a romantic comedy. Why not? Well, thank you very much for joining us. Alexis, we'll get to you next. How about you? You had 14 correct. You only missed one. Which I don't even remember what.
Me forever.
Oh, it was Booty Call. So I guess you have to go watch Booty Call. But
Yeah.
How about you? Any parting words?
I can't be the one that I recommend to everybody, I guess, because clearly I haven't seen it. In my marathon rom-com quarantine watching, I watched a movie I'd never seen before called Mr. Right with Anna Kendrick and Sam Rockwell, and I can't recommend it enough. It is such a weird, very violent, quirky, funny movie, and I really enjoyed it. So go watch that.
Awesome. Well, violent, quirky, and fun. Sounds like a good time. And Becca, thank you very much for joining us. Even though you did lower your hair, it was curly, you took off the glasses. It wasn't enough to get you the win, but you still performed great. Any last words from you?
Yeah, I want to tell everyone they are beautiful just the way they are, with their hair up, down, glasses on, glasses off. You do you, boo. It's awesome. And for my movie recommendation, Oldie, was obsessed with it. In college, I watched it more than I did work, which was French Kiss. If you haven't seen it in a while, it just melts your heart.
Great recommendation there. Well, thank you very much, all of you, for joining us. This episode is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. So thank you very much to all of you for helping the show. You're the lifeblood. It helps us do great bonuses like this. If you'd like to join all of our patrons, you can go to patreon.com/Triviality Podcast to get a bunch of extra content and hear all the After Dark goofiness that goes on. But for Asha, Paul, Alexis, Becca, Colleen, who helped co-host today, Ken, Jeff, and Matt, who were off trying to learn about romantic comedies themselves, my name is Neal, and we will see you next week for the final. Thank you.